Here's the hot topic for everybody who works in an office. Do you actually take work home? Okay, let's face it, we've all been guilty of this. Practically everybody has taken work home with them, especially if you're working in an administrative function or if you're self-employed. Let's look at the self-employed person first. Obviously, you want to spend as much time as possible with your family. And if you have an office apart, as a self-employed person, you're never quite off duty. So in your mind, it doesn't really make a difference if you're working in the office or at home. However, from a practical point of view, it does make a difference. Just imagine the scene. You're sitting at the kitchen table, doing the books, being happy that your family is around you, but your wife doesn't really get much mileage out of you because you're doing work, and your kids are running around, getting ready for bed while daddy's doing the accounts. At the same time, you're being distracted because the kids will ask questions, your wife will ask a question occasionally. You're not quite focused on the task at hand. The two things that come to mind are these. A, it's not really quality time, is it now? And B, you're not really focused on the task, and you're likely to spend a lot more time doing it than if you had just finished at the office. Maybe something to think about. Maybe it's worth staying longer in the office and then coming home and being in free time mode. When it comes to somebody who's employed, who ends up taking work home with them on a regular basis, then there is something amiss. It's a clear sign that there's too much work for you. If you take it home with you of your own accord, you're playing right into the hands of your employer, because your employer wants you to do as much work as possible, as cheaply as possible. Most likely you're not being paid for your overtime at home. If, however, the employer asks you to do it, you're in your rights to ask remuneration for what you're doing. Because your employer asks you to work out of hours, there's no reason to just accept this at face value. If they want you to finish this, and it's a reasonable request after a full day's work, then you are in your rights to be paid for it. It's a tricky one, I know. It's not always easy to say no to an employer. Very often, company culture assumes that you take work with you. However, it's really up to you. If you stand firm, then your employer cannot really force you to take things with you. In both situations, being self-employed or employed, the question to ask yourself is a very simple one. Why do I mix work and private life? If you take work home with you, your private life isn't really your private life anymore. The time you spend working will take longer than if you do it in the office, simply because you'll be distracted. And your private life's quality is going down the drain because you'll never quite feel off the hook. You'll always have something that reminds you, this needs to be done. Think about it. The worst clutter you can have is the clutter that you impose on yourself. And that's the kind of thing that sits between your ears. Think about it, stay clutter aware, and come back next time. If you want more, there are options. Click the round logo to subscribe to this channel, or select the playlist in the middle to see more content, or check out the links in the description below. Oh, and feel free to like this video.